Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Good news, the Cleveland Cavaliers came back to beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Bad news is their kryptonite is three-point shooting, and the Grizzlies lit them up yesterday, McNuggets.
Yeah, Memphis won 29 of 59 from beyond the arc. That tied the NBA record for most threes made in a single game. They were going for the record. They intentional fouled late to get the ball back to chuck up some more. They didn't get it. 9 different Grizzlies made a three in this game. According to NBA.com tracking data, only 29 of the 59 three-point attempts were contested. And as Chris Fedor laid out in his article this morning, the Cavs rank bottom 10 in the NBA in every important defensive category when it comes to defending the three-point line. And as we look ahead to the playoffs, Zach, Earl, G, I'm curious if you guys agree with Chris Fedor's interpretation that their three-point defense could be their fatal flaw.
Zach, we'll start with you, man. This is, to me, I've been beating this drum for about a year and a half now. The Cavs let everybody have it's not just one person. It's everybody just plays the Cavs and has a career night. Guys, backups, bigs. Your thoughts on this nasty work on the three-pointer?
Yeah, it's a concern. Now, I think last night's kind of an outlier, right? They're playing the Washington Generals. That's a minor league team that was out there trying to set a record, right? Lucas Williamson.
I don't even know who these dudes is.
Dariq Whitehead.
This right? Pulling up with no.
Didn't they have 3 dudes shoot at least 12 threes? That was their goal, right? Now, let's talk about a playoff series. Yes. Is it a concern because is it more than just a short-term trend? Mm-hmm. Sure. One of the reasons you go get James Harden is some nights you're just going to have to make more threes than they make, right? Why are you excited to get Max Strus back, have these guys healthy? Because you're going to do that. But sure, it is a concern. You worry more about the health. I think you worry more about the physicality on the glass against certain teams. But yes, the numbers don't say it. They scream it, that it's a concern for the Cavs going forward.
Yeah, I wonder what's been going on with my Cleveland Cavaliers lately. I wonder if they got regular season fatigue, if they kind of already checked out mentally from this part of the season.
And they do.
Yeah, probably crazy comparison, right? But my daughter right now is 3 weeks away, 3-4 weeks away from graduation. She's one of those super educated kids. She already got all her credits, but she still has to go to school.
Senioritis.
Yeah. And the closer she's getting to the end of the school year, you can just tell she's just ready for it to be over with, ready to get to the next part of it. And that's what I'm seeing from the Cleveland Cavaliers. The problem is they've been having these issues, like you said, for a while. And since Tyvus think we don't criticize this team. I get tired of hearing, and Mike, you hear this too. We know what our issues are. We'll figure it out. We got time. We're not worried about it. No big deal. We got time. Well, no, you don't. Time has ran out. And now you're in a situation to where, due to your opponents, you're not really going to show anything against Atlanta in either of those 2 games because you possibly might match up against them, right? And then the last game of the season, I think that's the Wizards game.
Yeah.
There you go. That is what it is. And so it is concerning to know that these issues have been issues for the better part of the season, and we're going into the playoffs, and those issues have not been corrected. On top of the fact that we got issues with injury, chemistry issues, because the guys that are the key components of this team hasn't had really games together, and so you just hope that when we get there, somehow, some way, things start to gel, and we can look at it and say, okay, the Cavaliers flipped the switch, and we don't have to be as anxious as we are currently right now.
You're not wrong on any of that, and the senioritis thing is real. But to me, it's not a negative. This is what they are, right? The regular season doesn't matter, right? It starts next week. And to me, the most important 3 days for the Cavs coming up are next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when they know their opponent, right? And they get to practice. Yeah. And they start focusing in on game plan and playoff-specific stuff. So would you like to know more about the health? Would you like to have had the guys that you think are going to be in your top 5 or 6 have more time together? But you haven't. But it hasn't started yet. We still got that time. These games don't mean anything. It's the nature of the beast. What did last night prove? That the NBA season is too long, right? And that was just the 1,500th example of that. It's not specific to the Cavs. It's not just alone here, right? It's what it is. There's a minor league team out there trying to set a record.
And you know what, real quick, I go back to what you just said. I think Memphis had 10 guys on their injury list. 12. And granted, we didn't have our guys available either, but the Cleveland Cavaliers are one of the upper echelon teams and the Eastern Conference. This is the end of the season. You got a bunch of guys who are getting the opportunity to play against a team that's going to the playoffs to showcase what they can do so that they can earn a roster spot either on that team or other places next year. And so, yeah, the season is too long, but this is one of those benefits for those guys that's in that situation, like we saw in Memphis yesterday.
They're just trying out.
They're just trying out. Yeah.
But listen, man,
Kobe might go get another developmental guy off that team. Who knows?
Man, Zach and Earl just made you feel great, man. If I hear that, man, the Cavs about to win this championship, McNuggets, I'm feeling great. I'm like, man, woo, there's nothing to see here. Nothing.
But like to Mike's point, to your point, to Zach's point, you look at that and you see it in real time. I was trying to watch the college national championship, but the way the Cavs was playing defense, I was like, all right, I need to lock in and watch what's going on right here, right now. And we all heard what Kenny Atkinson had to say a couple weeks ago about, hey, listen, if y'all don't tighten up on the defensive side, it's going to be another early exit.
The Cavs didn't even take Mitchell and Harden on the trip. That's what they thought about this game.
I will say this. There's a thing to be said that you got the situation where, guess what? It's the end of the season. They're just trying to get through it. My problem with the Cleveland Cavaliers is this. This is a team that's trying to get to a promised land. This is a team that has been flamed out the last 2 seasons. I can say go back to 4 seasons where they've had early round exits and been embarrassed in the second round. They shouldn't be a team. If Oklahoma City Thunder is still closing out playing well, if the rest of these teams, the Boston Celtics, is closing out on guys and playing defense and they've won a championship, there's no reason you guys should not have attention to details. To me, the thing about the Cavs is, closing out on 3-point shooters, now correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a long time since I'd had to sit in a defensive stance and play basketball, Mike, but closing out is attention to detail and effort. The Cavs do this half-hearted closeout. In the league, where everybody, including the bigs, can shoot from half court, this little shot hand that you got up right here is not a contest. You got to close out with some urgency, because I'm going to tell you what, if you think the Grizzlies hit these, the Celtics will pour threes on you like they won't miss. They will just not miss. The Oklahoma City Thunder will not miss for a whole half. And the game will be over before it starts with, if they don't get it together defensively. They have to play good enough defense to at least have James Harden and Donovan Mitchell be able to be clutch with their very down the stretch. But if you're getting out to this, losing by 20 points, 25 points, that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, it's a multitude of factors. I think you guys are all right in instances. End of the season, they didn't bring half their team. Effort was not necessarily there. We heard what LeBron said about playing in Memphis on a Tuesday night. They played last night in Memphis on a Monday night. And they didn't even bring their 2 biggest guns.
Right.
They won by 16. They erased a 17-point deficit. The scouting report on some of the guys that the Grizzlies threw out there yesterday was let them shoot. Dariq Whitehead, who made 6 threes, was a 23.5% three-point shooter on the season. A guy named Adama Ball had 6 threes last night, has never made more than 3 threes in a game. So some of that was just scouting. Guys had nights. The other part of this, though, effort, closeouts, but more importantly than all that, you just can't get beat on the perimeter like they have been. Because when you get beat on the perimeter and teams are able to get into the paint, that's where the open kickouts to the corners and then the lazy late closeouts happen. The Cavs, whether you want to call it 3-point defense, their fatal flaw is right now they can't stay in front of guys on the perimeter.
Facts.
And late in games, when push comes to shove, and Drew Holiday would help in this instance, but he takes away from a lot of the other amazing things that James Harden does, the Cavs need to be able to contain ball handlers on the perimeter. And if they don't, it's going to be a much shorter playoff run than I think a lot of us anticipate.
You mentioned it. The head of the spear are your guards. The guards have to be able to at least somewhat stay in front of people, because when you get beat and the Cavs, let's just be clear, the Cavs got 2 rim protectors. They got Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and they do a great job of moving their feet as bigs on pick and roll. But at the tip of the spear, there has to be accountability to say, I might not be the greatest guy, but I can't get straight line drive past.
Yeah, when you talk about guards, and the ability to stay in front of their, the guy with the basketball, I will say another positive from last night. I thought Craig Porter Jr. had a really, really good game defensively. And he was a guy that, in my opinion, was really trying to show Kenny Atkinson, like, hey, come playoff time, don't forget about me. You know, later on we'll talk about measurables versus traits. And some of, like, Craig Porter Jr.'s measurables, they doesn't scream he should be able to do the things defensively that he's able to do. The one thing about him, man, he has just this read on the basketball to where he could get out there at 6'2" and block your shot like it ain't nothing. And, like, that is a dude right there that when you talk about defense, I think about guys like him, you know, Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, and I've heard Kenny Atkinson talk about, even when it comes to Jalen Tyson, that is going to be his avenue to earn the minutes in the playoffs. You guys got to step up on a perimeter defense, and then hopefully they understand what type of time it is when it is time.
Craig Porter Jr. is a great story, and he has earned his way with the Cavaliers. But the chances he's ever going to play in these playoffs are slim and none. Right, Mike? Like,
Yeah, he's definitely at the end of the rotation.
yeah, he's definitely at the very end. Yeah. So Keon Ellis has to make threes because he's got to be able to be out there when it's time to get those stops. And that he's not the only one, right? It's got to go from Merrill, Strus, and all those guys. But, sometimes you're just going to have to make more than the other team. But you're right. Keeping the ball out of the paint is the best way to do it because you can't give up the wide open ones.
Well, we know what the Cavs ceiling is. It should be championship or at least Eastern Conference Finals. But let's talk about the Guardians. What is their ceiling? And through 11 games, has that changed for you? We'll talk about it right on the other side on Ultimate Cleveland.